Imagine where you were on January 4th, 2001. Depending on where you live, you may have woken up that morning and were getting ready for school, or maybe you were still on winter break and were watching some TV. You're nice and warm and cozy under your blanket while some snow flurries start falling outside. You turn on the TV and switch to ABC Kids, where you might find Recess playing or Schoolhouse Rock. Maybe you were watching Courage the Cowardly Dog or Kids Next Door on Cartoon Network, or maybe Rugrats or Hey Arnold on Nickelodeon. Could have been Bear in the Big Blue House on Disney Channel, or Dragon Tales or Sesame Street on PBS Kids. Now, there's a lot of things you guys could have been doing, but you most likely don't remember because you were pretty young, and I mean, for some of you, you may not even have been born yet. For Andrew Gower and his brother Paul, however, who were operating out of their parents' house in Nottingham, England, they probably do remember where they were. They were about to release the beta version of a little game you might know called Runescape. Did Runescape turn out to be a success? Well, I'll let you guys decide that for yourselves. So the game releases in beta on the 4th of January 2001, and 3 weeks later, we see the first ever RuneScape update. I first would like to thank Nostale for sponsoring this video. Nostale is a free-to-play MMORPG on Steam released by Gameforge. They just released their largest content update in years, and there's a ton of stuff that's worth checking out. The first link in the description of this video will be a link to the game on Steam, so if you guys would like to try it out, make sure you click that link, and it'll bring you right to the game. Here's a quick trailer for you guys.
Mauritius, where the fighting's good, and the food's even better. Defeat monsters and write your heroic saga today.
Thanks to the RuneScape wiki, we have access to every RuneScape update and news post since the game's release back in 2001. Since 2001, the game has seen a total of 1,047 updates, so around 55 updates a year. Now, we do have some outliers. 2013 was the release of old school RuneScape, and with a team of only a couple of people, they focused more on fixing bugs and quality of life updates as opposed to big content releases. 2012 saw the most updates to the game by far due to the evolution of combat, but we don't really like talking about that around here. 2003 saw only 30 updates due to preparation for RuneScape 2, which would be released the next year, and 2001 had 42 updates, the earliest being in January, the first ever updates to RuneScape, and we're going to check them out. January 2001 had 6 updates from the Gower brothers. The first one, of course, like I've already said, was the game's release on the 4th of January, and then 3 weeks later, on the 21st of January, we had the first ever update called Newsletter 1. Welcome to the first ever RuneScape newsletter. Firstly, a big thank you to everyone who's been playing and has helped make RuneScape a great success. We only just launched over 2 weeks ago, and we already have over 28,000 signed up players, and the game has been played for a total time of over 4.5 years. Help keep RuneScape free. Renting a server to run RuneScape is expensive. I really want to avoid charging people to play, so please help me keep it free by visiting the website below and signing up for a few free offers. Thanks. Want to win free cash every day? Try the newest freebie site on the internet today, freebieclub.com. Of course, it's loaded with free loot, great vacations, magazines, and samples galore. What's new in RuneScape? So the RuneScape team has been working very hard over the past 2 weeks to improve the game and bring you new features. The major new features are a new desert city, Alcarid, with a scimitar shop, furnace, silk trader, general store, a plate mill leg shop, and a kebab shop. A new quest in Draenor with spooky things inside. There's a vampire asleep in the cellar, Professor Audenstein who lives in the attic who has accidentally turned someone to a chicken. They've also improved the the map page to show locations of useful shops, added a who's playing page so you can see if your friends are on, made Lumbridge safe to give a place to hide from player killers, improved the shops to reduce queuing, reduced the network requirements so the game works over more connections, and fixed lots of little problems and bugs with the game to make it more reliable. What's planned? We are of course working on many improvements to add to the game to make it even better. We have nearly finished work on the bank, which will hopefully be added to Varrock City tomorrow. The bank is a safe place to store your money such that even if you die, it can't be lost. After that, the magic system is due for a big overhaul with lots of new spells being added, plus we'll be adding some entirely new professions such as crafting and fishing to add even more variety to the game. The next planned quest is the Vampire Slayer quest, in which you must work out how to slay the evil vampire currently sleeping in Draenor Manor. So let's break this down because there are some super cool things about this update. First of all, in the space of 3 weeks, they managed to get over 28,000 players to sign up for the game. In order to support the servers for this amount of players, they decided against a membership fee and instead chose to shout out a type of freebie website called freebieclub.com. Unfortunately, the website does not exist anymore, but based off their description and what they were offering, I'm assuming you guys can guess what type of website it was. The first update ever brought Alcarid to the game. All of the shops in the original update are still on Runescape to this day, and I do like how the plate-like shop was called the plate mill-like shop back then. We also have the new quest, Ernest the Chicken, which is the first ever quest added from an update, and if you guys need a guide for it, just let me know. Some of the really cool things though come next. There used to be a who's playing page to see if any of your friends were online when they were playing. You could fight other players in Lumbridge during the first 3 weeks since it's now been switched to a safe area, and these shops were improved to reduce queuing. Now I tried doing some research on this whole queuing for shops, but I couldn't find anything, so my guess is that you can maybe only have a certain amount of people have the interface of a shop open at the same time, or maybe players had to wait turns to open up the shops. I'm not totally sure. If you guys have any information on this or remember this, please leave it in the comments below. The coolest one though is that there was a new bank coming to the game very soon, and this means that during the release of RuneScape there weren't any banks. So players were in a sense ultimate Iron Man accounts since they couldn't use a bank. The magic system was going to be overhauled, fishing and mining were the next major skills that were going to be released, and Vampire Slayer was the next quest on the horizon. That is a pretty full update, and if I was one of the 28,000 players at the time who was playing the game and I saw this news post and all these new things coming to the game, that would excite me. There's a brand new city in the game with lots of new shops to explore, a new manor has opened with a new quest, and then future updates are going to include more new quests and more new skills. That's really cool. 4 days later, on January 25th, the second update happens, and for the first time, we have people cheating. The super strength beer cheat has been fixed. Today it came to my attention that by drinking huge amounts of beer, players were able to make themselves super strong and then go killing everyone. This has now been fixed, so beer can only increase your strength slightly. Many thanks to the person who told me about this one. If you know of any more cheats or tricks, let me know so I can fix them and make RuneScape a fair place for everyone. Now when I first saw this, I laughed so hard because I uploaded a video to my channel last week called Trying Out the Earliest RuneScape Cheats, and in that video I tried out this exact cheat. Somebody had recommended for you to drink a bunch of beer and you'd get super strong because it would boost your strength levels very, very high. But I had no idea that this was a thing in the first 3.5 weeks of RuneScape being a thing. It happened that early, and it was the first instance of people cheating in the game, which is absolutely hilarious. Update number 3. Lots of improvements to the game. The third update to RuneScape was a combat update. For ranged combat, you now gain experience for each successful hit, so it's easier to advance the level. Arrows fire 25% faster, and he fixed a cheat/bug which some people were using to shoot super rapidly. For magic, 4 new spells have been added to the game: Fear, Wind Bolt, Rock Skin, and Elemental Bolt. The bolt spells have also been made much more powerful, and they are no longer dependent on your ranged combat skill. This means each type of bolt now does a fixed maximum damage, and to shoot more powerful bolts you need to use high-level spells. Finally, the staffs have been improved such that if you are wielding a fire staff, water staff, air staff, or earth staff, it acts as unlimited runes of that type. Finally, we have player killing. So due to a large number of requests, I've changed the way this works. Firstly, you can no longer log out during combat. Closing the web page or disconnecting your modem will not work either. However, to compensate, I've made it so if you retreat in the game, the person attacking you is stunned for 2 seconds to give you a better chance of getting away. Also, when you die, you now get to keep your 3 most valuable items. You will still probably lose any ore, food, money, spare weapons, etc., but at least you will no longer lose an item that you just spent days saving up for. This means if you keep your spare money in the bank, you should now be relatively safe. 2 spells that were added with this update are no longer part of the game, So there was Elemental Bolt, which was an early combat spell that became available at level 9 evil magic and consumed one of each elemental rune when cast. So back then, there was evil magic and there was good magic, and evil magic had its own spells and good magic had its own spells. And this was in the game until the 10th of May 2001, when it was removed from the game, removed from the skills list, with the update lots of smaller improvements. The spells continued to exist until the 24th of May with the update New Magic System Online. The second spell was called Fear, which was an early combat spell that became available at level 12 evil magic. It consumed 1 water rune and 3 mind runes when it cast. It was removed after the New Magic System Online update. What it did was it caused a monster currently engaged in combat to retreat. This effect was commonly exploited to steal monsters from players training melee, allowing the person who cast the spell to receive all of the experience and loot from a monster with already decreased hits. Ouch. I love the update to player killing because it kind of gives me Deadman mode vibes. I mean, player killing back then was brutal. Before this update, if you wanted to get out of a fight with somebody, you could just log out, or close your web page, or just disconnect your modem. If you died to somebody back then, you lost everything you had on you, which is absolutely brutal. I mean, that gives me Deadman mode vibes. However, with this update, if you do die, you now get to keep your 3 most valuable items, which is a lot better. And luckily, this bank update is coming, which is going to keep all your things relatively safe in the future if you can just store them in your bank. Update number 4. The vampire sleeping in the coffin under Draenor Manor has been terrorizing the inhabitants of the small village to the south and must be stopped. If you think you are up to the task of slaying a vampire, go and talk to the people in the village to find out how you can destroy this evil monster. Another day, another quest. Update number 5, the final update of January. Following Saturday's update, the combat system has been tweaked further. The retreating was still too difficult, particularly when you were being attacked by multiple players or monsters at once, so this has been improved and made easier. The keep 3 best items rule has also been modified, so if you attack another player, then you now lose the item protection for 20 minutes of game time. This makes the player killing aspect of the game more dangerous and exciting, but it also increases your potential reward, as if you kill someone else without item protection, you can now get the best loot. People without item protection have a small skull drawn above them. After many requests, the guards in Varrock City now attempt to stop people fighting. There are a large number of guards at the bank, so assuming they haven't all been killed, you can now withdraw all your money more safely. In this final update of January, we see one of the most iconic things to come into the game, and that is the player killer skull. So the skull showing that you are a player killer and you are out to get somebody's items. Something that I think is very recognizable outside of the RuneScape community. And those were the first ever updates to come into RuneScape. January 4th, 2001 was the release, and then we saw 5 consecutive updates over the course of January, adding new things to the game, fixing bugs, fixing a lot of cheating going on, adding a lot of new cool things to the game, like I said, and that's honestly so cool to read through and so cool just to check out how it was back then. I never played Classic personally, but maybe some of you guys did who are watching, and I'd love to hear more about it in the comment section below. So the cool thing is that the wiki has so many more updates. I mean, they've kept track of almost every single update to come into the game, and I think it'd be really cool to go back through these updates again for another video, maybe go through the best of 2000, 2001, 2002, all these updates from back in the day, which I think would be really, really cool to go over in a video. I mean, it's honestly such a nostalgia trip to go through this stuff. I mean, they talk about, RuneScape working on Netscape. Who remembers the Netscape browser? I used to use Netscape back in 2003, 2004. I completely forgot about that. So again, you guys know how much I love nostalgia, how much I love reminiscing about back in the day, and I think you'd honestly would enjoy a type of video like that. So if you guys do want to see more of these nostalgia RuneScape videos going over updates from way back in the day, please leave a like on the video and also let me know in the comment section below. Thank you guys all again for watching the video today. I had a blast making it, and hope you guys had a blast watching it. Hope to see you next time. Have a good one, and peace.
Wow.